Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another historical humans heritage. And today we are going to the island of Japan. We are looking at the shrines and temples of Nikko, which, we like to bounce all across the world, so we figured we'd go back to Asia and talk about these gorgeous, gorgeous temples.
H Heritage has not been in Japan before, so here we go.
Not Japan, we were in Korea at the Dolmen
Yeah, that's what I
sites.
said. We've not been in Japan before, so here we go. Korea is not Japan. They are very insistent on that.
I feel like there might have been a few wars that caught.
Some
Yeah,
very,
we're not gonna go
but
there.
the thing we're here to talk about are some wonderful temples and religious buildings. So the shrines and temples of Nikko is a multi-religious complex. It is composed of 103 religious buildings within two Shinto shrines and one Buddhist temple. Um, so yeah, it's pretty big. 103 buildings, Justin.
Oh, jeez, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah. Two Shinto shrines, one Buddhist temple, composed of 103 buildings. This place is absolutely massive and beautiful, as can be seen in the photographs, both in terms of its architecture and in the natural environment in which it is placed. Because with religion in Japan, it's the location is just as important as the structure itself.
What is important about this location?
I believe it is its natural setting, in terms of the religious importance, on account of the fact that the um, Nikko Mountains,
Yep,
after which the complex is named, is considered sacred since the 8th century. um,
exactly. Sacred mountains.
yeah, which is fun because the religious buildings that are here were constructed almost 1,000 years later in the 17th century, um, by Tokugawa Ieyasu, the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate, and the man who brought an end to the warring states Sengoku Jidai period of Japan, which was a century-long civil war.
So it's very interesting to see that there's this connection as a religious and holy site that spans centuries of disconnect, but they could still identify it as being this sacred area.
Well, yes, it was considered sacred since the 8th century. However, the temple complex that now adorns the mountain and honors it was built 900 years after it was decided that the mountain was sacred,
Yeah.
which is it was given a place of worship 900 years later. Um, uh, there is the tradition of worship at the site. Of course, goes back to the 8th century with the Buddhist monks and the on the sacred mountain, but the temples themselves are a result of the Tokugawa shogunate, which combines multiple layers of historical and religious significance, because the complex we see today is part of Japan defining itself as a nation not at war with itself, and the holiness and worship goes back almost 1,000 years further. So you know
It,
1,300 years of worship at this place.
and one of the reasons this place is considered so holy and that is viewed so highly is the fact that it is very much it shows this delicate balance between man and nature. Like, this site retains its integrity because it is meant to have this balance between these buildings and nature and the forest around them and the mountains. And it's also part of it. And one of the things that restricts new buildings and constructions is the 1957 Natural Parks Law that protects the area and added a buffer zone around the property.
Yeah, and this is a 373.2 hectare buffer zone. So this isn't some, picket fence, that says nothing new can cross here. No, this is its own landscape of just preservation. Just the buffer zone is almost as large as the site. But no, it's bigger than the site. The site is 50.8 hectares, and the buffer zone is 373 because it's encircling it.
So it's actually protecting the site. So yet
Yeah,
another great example of preservation going to
yeah,
that extra
yeah,
level.
yeah. Uh, and one of the things too with how big this protective zone is the protective zone almost perfectly follows and encompasses the sacred Nico Mountains into which along which these temples are built. So basically, they decided that the buffer zone was going to be the rest of the mountain range
Oh, that is beautiful. I
because
love it.
because the mountains are still holy.
You know, if only America took example of this where indigenous people think that or indigenous folks think that certain mountain ranges hold religious and cultural importance. I would love to see those all protected.
Yeah, the thing is, with Japan, unlike with the United States, the religions holding this mountain to be holy are fairly dominant, and thus get consideration, which is unfortunate. Sorry to burst the bubble here, Justin.
True, but they also do preach acceptance and,
Yeah,
accommodation. So, they're a different kind of folk than we are, but it's
yeah,
cool to see that they're actually protecting it, that the site's in such good condition. And honestly, I love seeing these multicultural sites. I like seeing the different layers of them stacked on top of each other and continuously built.
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, what's interesting is it was multi-religious. I think Tokugawa built both the Buddhist and the Shinto temples in the site, which is a large, which is just a major form of religious tolerance, especially if you go almost, if you go just, two rulers before him, you have Oda Nobunaga setting fire to the most holy temple in all of Japanese Buddhism. So it's like major 180 on policy by the time you get to this guy. Uh, one of the other interesting things about these temples is um, repair is conducted by the Foundation for Preserving the Nikko Shrines in Temples, which is run by conservation architects,
Ooh.
um, and is backed by the property owners, which are actually religious organizations,
Wow.
um, with names I cannot possibly.
Toshogu and Rinoji. Rinoji.
Uh, yeah, also Futara-san Jinja.
Oh yeah, Futura-san Jinja.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very interesting to see. It's religiously owned and operated, and also has its own foundation, a government backed foundation for preserving it. Which again, in the United States, there's that major separation of church and state that is largely supposed to exist. Uh, that kind of makes it seem a little bit awkward to be like government money, religious organization, same spot. But here it seems to have melded together quite seamlessly, and has done wonders for protecting what is a very holy historical site. Um,
I think that's a good point for us to wrap up, though, for this episode, because we talked about quite a bit.
yeah,
Um, if you guys enjoyed watching today's video, please be sure to leave a like. If there's a topic you would like to see, be sure to comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future episodes. And yeah, don't forget to check out all of our other wonderful videos that we produce. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.